Failure. It's what most of us try so desperately to avoid in our day-to-day lives, but can often never escape. It crushes us, brings us down more than almost anything else can, and makes us feel like we aren't worth anything. But failure is what every single human being on the planet faces many times over during their lives. Failure is necessary for us to develop our skills, our knowledge, and our lives. How many times have you tried something new, whether that be a new hobby or a new job, and you just found yourself unprepared or just plain confused? Sure, you could have read up on it or had a similar experience in the past that would have made it easier for you, but oftentimes we fail during our first attempts of almost anything. But that's how we learn. Take children, for example. They don't behave like most adults do, and often don't even know what the correct behavior even is. They have an inability to read the room and act accordingly. You could say they fail at life constantly. Okay, maybe that's a bit harsh, but the point still stands. They often act out of what they know and get reprimanded so that they act in accordance with others. They eventually grow out of this and act with the same social rules that adults have. And the same principle applies to failures that we face throughout work, relationships, developing new skills, and our lives. Failure helps shape who we are. It forms us from the day we're born until the day we die. It follows us constantly throughout our lives. It usually makes us feel bad about ourselves, like we aren't good enough to do what we want in life. But that doesn't have to be the case. Relating back to the child analogy, failure is how we learn all the skills we have in life, whether that's work, relationships, or even building new habits. When we fail at something, we know what not to do next time, or even what we should do if the lesson is strong enough. It is the most rough, heavy-handed learning experience there is. It helps you learn what to do, what to avoid, what isn't for you, and how to handle your future. Without failure, none of us would be where we are right now. For me, there seems to be self-appointed or self-perceived failures that others don't necessarily see. Take my old college films, for instance. I got good grades on many of them, and I was told that they were good at the time, but looking back, and even shortly after them, I wasn't happy. They seem like failures to me. I used the same angle so many times throughout one of my films, you'd think it was an intentional story point, but it wasn't, and I haven't done that since. Doing, failing, and learning is the best way to improve yourself. Of course it sucks at the time, but failure is what makes us all human. We all fail constantly throughout the course of our lives to become better people in the end. And that's okay. It's okay to fail.